Property inspections, the tango, property inspections. So after mastering these dance moves, you should be able to describe the types of inspections property managers can do, explain the pros and cons of performing inspections, know how to handle notice of inspections and tenants who resist inspections. Kind of tell me, do y'all have an inspection schedule that y'all try to follow? Y'all do inspections? How often do y'all do inspections? Athena's laughing. Athena does inspections for us. So how often do y'all do inspections? Just curious. Once a year?
There's a problem. I mean, we're
Never?
We're fortunate that our service providers know what our standards and what we're looking for in the tenant and the team.
Yeah.
So I mean, we'll do maintenance inspections if we feel need or if
Good idea.
violations of the lease or they're not being good stewards of the community. So
Okay.
it's as needed basis. And I think at the same time too, it's relative to the property. If it has exterior wood siding versus vinyl siding, and I think there's things to take into consideration there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Does anybody have like a set schedule? This is when we do inspections. People know it up front or anything like that? Okay. We're going to talk a little bit about that. One of the most common complaints against property management's firm is that the firm failed to monitor the client's property. Pamela?
Yes, that's totally true.
Yeah.
I have lots of defendants in cases because the owners are not happy with how you've been handling their property inspections.
Yeah. Yeah. By far one of the biggest things. Inspections. The key to inspections, like the term we've used throughout this whole class, document, document, document. If you're out at a property, no matter if it's something small, document it. Because you at least want to go back and be able to say, well, I was at your property at such and such time. A lot of y'all know me. I'm a tech person. I like my gadgets and all. Google Calendar is great for this. And we try it at our company. Anytime you go to a property, at least put it in your Google Calendar. Went to 123 Main Street, did an inspection on 123 Main Street, because then if something happened, you can go back into your Google Calendar to the search bar and type up 123 Main Street and hit enter, and it'll tell you the date and time every time you went out to that property right there in your Google Calendar. And we're going to talk about in just a little bit how that can save you if you have an insurance claim or something. So something easy is just putting in your calendar, and then the owner, even on the property showings, if you're showing it for vacant units, put it in your Google Calendar so when the owner calls you up in 3 weeks and saying, well, why hadn't the house rented? You can easily just type it in and boom, well, I've showed it 25 times. Here's why. So just an easy documenting tip to show how many times you've been out to the property. Okay? Many issues that come up between clients and brokers could have been avoided if the broker did routine inspections. Okay? Some of the different inspections you can do, and this all comes down to what you want to do. Before move-in, I think it's a great idea. After move-out, hopefully you're inspecting the property once the tenant moves out. That's kind of a given. You can inspect every 3 months. You can inspect every 6 months, once a year. Work repair inspections, kind of like what you mentioned, is a great idea. And a maintenance schedule. It's a good idea to have a maintenance schedule. In a couple more weeks, what might be a good thing to do at houses? Clean the gutters. Once the leaves and all fall off, clean the gutters. I can't tell you how much damage I've seen just because gutters were clogged up. Right? So have a schedule. Maybe you have that scheduled in your calendar. Every November or every December, we clean gutters. December is our gutter cleaning schedule. And then you send an email to the owner that says, we're cleaning the gutters. If you don't want us to, tell us. And then they can tell you, don't clean my gutters. Well, then they can't come back on you in 3 months and say, why didn't you clean my gutters? The gutters fell off the house. Well, you told me not to. Okay? Document, document, document. So having a schedule in place is always a good idea. Okay? What do you think the best tool for an inspection is? Your smartphone. Hopefully it's an Android phone, not a big Apple fan. I try to work that in every class, and many of y'all know that. So I would highly recommend an Android phone, but nothing for love for Apple phones. So who's on my Apple phones in here? Half the class. Okay. I'll be quiet. I'm outnumbered, so I won't say anything. All right. By far the best tool for an inspection is your smartphone, because you can document everything. Anybody do videos on any of their inspections? Yep. I love videos. We do videos for all kinds of stuff, pre-move-in inspections and everything, just because you're able to explain it. One thing that I've noticed, especially on a pre-move-in video, it gives the owner an idea to see how the house looks before the tenant takes it. Not only does it protect you from tenant damages, I've had a couple times where it protected me from an owner trying to blame the tenant for something that the tenant never did. So we had a tenant that one time moved into a house, was there for a week and a half, and called in and said, I think it was the towel bar was off the wall, and we just missed it on the pre-inspection. The owner said, well, charge him for it. I'm not paying for that. We went back and watched the pre-move-in video, and I paused it in the bathroom, and sure enough, it didn't have a towel bar there. It was down. It was just missed. So that right there avoided a whole conflict with the tenant, because the owners wanting to charge them because we had a documentation of it. So not just on the tenant side, could be the owner side. And we were able to send that over and let them see it. So question, do you have an inspection schedule? You should, and it should be disclosed and agreed upon at the management agreement signing. Okay? You should tell the owners, hey, we're going to inspect once a year. The thing is, if you tell them you're going to do it, you need to do it. If you tell them I'm going to inspect every once a month and then you don't do it, then you could be a breach of your agreement that you made with them, okay? But it's always a good idea to have some type of agreement. That way both parties have a clear, documented, clear expectation of the property manager. If the owner comes in and says, I want you to inspect this property every month, do you have to agree to it? No, but at least you're talking and you're on the same terms. The worst thing is when you sign up a property and you think he or she's fine with you not doing inspections, but they're thinking you're inspecting it every month. That's where the problems can come in, because you weren't clear and explained everybody was on the same page at the beginning.
Do you really have inspections that often? Because that's really the pride of the person that's renting the property.
You know, it's going to be about once a month inspection, probably going to be a lot. Do you have the right to inspect the property? Do you have the right to show it to potential renters or sellers? Yeah, you can. But, you know, that's kind of a fine line you want to walk, and that's kind of maybe the downside if you're in there inspecting it all the time. And, you know, that's, you kind of gets in. I think the key is finding a good balance, what works for everything. I have found, so for us, we try our best. We inspect most of our properties twice a year. We tell the tenants up front, we're going to inspect it probably month 3, and then we're going to inspect it at month 9. And there's reasons why we pick that time, but we tell them up front, we're going to tell you at least 2 weeks ahead of time when we're coming. You know, just work with us. We'll be in and out, no problem. Usually it's not an issue. We just got to schedule it. But, you know, if you're going in there all the time, it could be totally different.
The issue I've come across is where maybe 1 or 2 people will say, well, I don't want you taking pictures. And I'll say, that's fine. Let me just look around. And then I'll just write it up verbally of what I saw and leave it at that.
Mm-hmm. But most of the time, and with the taking pictures part, most of the time, they just don't want you taking pictures of their stuff. We're taking pictures of the air vent. Is the air vent changed? Is there leaking around, or there's leaking at the faucet? So we're not taking like broad pictures of the room. We're taking pictures of the issues to make the owner aware. So it's things to kind of put into that. Okay? Having an inspection policy, which includes an inspection schedule, assists with protection of the client's properties. We inspect month 3. We've changed our policy a little bit. We inspect month 3 because, one, I want to make sure the people that moved in there are following the lease. They didn't move in with a dog or a 5. Right? I want to know that earlier on in the lease. And then with inspecting twice a month, it puts us again with our second inspection 90 days out, which is when we're kind of looking at lease renewal times and everything. So I kind of want to see it at that period. But it all depends on your business model and what you're set up for. But the key is protecting the client's property. Okay? It is much better to be proactive here. It is much better, just like on the maintenance, schedule maintenance. It's much better to cleaning out the gutters than fixing roofs because the gutters were never cleaned out. You need to kind of be proactive on these situations and try to stop problems before they get too bad. Different types of inspections. The pre-move-in inspection, when the property is vacant and a tenant is moving in soon. It's a great time to get a thorough inspection to have as a baseline of what the property looked like before they take possession. It's also a great way to let your client know how the property looks. We have a lot of clients that have not seen their houses in years. Years, as in 10, 15 years. So kind of a good idea, so they're kind of in the loop to know what they're looking at. And also it's a great idea to show them, here's the repairs that you approved, here's where it's done. And you can kind of point it out. A great tool for this during this inspection is video. We video that all the time because it's just easier instead of taking a bunch of pictures. Hey, here we are, here's a stain in the carpet. I put my foot against it sometimes so you can see the size. That's protected me too from the tenant as well. So the tenant can come back and say, well, that was there when we moved in. I can go back and watch the video. I had a tenant at one time tell me they did not break the microwave. The microwave door had a crack all the way across it. And it was broke. They're like, it was like that when we moved in. I sent them a copy of our pre-move-in video, and in the video we're opening and closing the microwave. There was no crack across it. His response back about 5 minutes later was, oh, I guess I did. I guess I did break it. we're done. We just moved on. They saw it was broken. So it can really protect you for damages and the tenant saying they didn't do it. But it was like that when I moved in, right? I'm sure y'all have heard that a time or two. All this stuff was in my front yard when I moved in. Well, 3 years ago. Well, why didn't you call and tell us? Well, I was just busy. Yeah, because it wasn't. Post-move out inspection. The inspection is performed after the tenant has vacated the property and hopefully turned the keys back over to your firm. Another great time for an inspection. We'll use a video on this one too. And then technically the owners have both. You got a pre-move in and a post-move out. Put them side by side. You see exactly how it looks. 3 month, 6 month, 1 year inspection, whatever you want to do. These inspections are a way for property managers to see how the property is being kept up. Okay? Due to privacy issues, I would not recommend videos or anything like this, kind of like we talked about earlier, but pictures are always a good idea. Maybe clean your kitchen up a little bit, right? A little dirty. Okay? Work repairs, like was mentioned earlier, great idea, especially if you're doing some big projects. Go out and make sure the work's done right and things were done the way they were supposed to have been done. Okay? Good idea to have a system in place to inspect the work as the work is turned in. Okay? General maintenance, capital improvements, inspections. You kind of have to have an idea of the life expectancy of some things going on at a property. Okay? Somebody mentioned earlier if the house has wood siding, probably a little bit more inspection, more maintenance you're going to have to do with that, and kind of have that plan in place. Talk with the owner about that and say, hey, we really want to protect your property. You don't want your deck to go without stain on it or it's going to start rotting through and everything. So have an idea. So I mentioned this earlier. What's your process? Anybody thinking they might need to write up a few processes? At least get you thinking about it. Okay? Questions on any of these? You're going to start thinking about using videos now on some houses? Maybe. Yeah. I see one saying, yeah, maybe. It's a good idea. You can't really take videos to court, but what you could do, if you're watching the video, just pause it and take screenshots of the video. Now you got pictures. And you can get the picture exactly the way you want it if the video just turns a certain way or whatever. So some other ideas about that. The key to all inspections is to document as much as possible in a reliably easy accessible system. So Google Drive, we use that a lot. Evernote, big fan of Evernote. There's so many programs out there now that you can just put stuff together, drop it together in a Google Drive folder or something like that, and then you can pull it up later on. Okay? So be thinking about that. What's your system? This really comes down to systems and procedures on how do we do inspections, how do we document it and everything. Please note, document, document, document. Okay? That's the takeaway from today, obviously. North Carolina Real Estate Commission's taken the position that a minimum standard of care for property managers is an annual inspection of the property. Okay? So they're saying you need to kind of at least be in the property at least once a year to do an inspection to make sure you're providing the services your clients are expecting.